I want only to bring peace and order to the galaxy. Count Dooku was a Force-sensitive Serenian human male who served as a Jedi Master during the final years of the Galactic Republic. After the Battle of Naboo, Dooku grew disillusioned with the Jedi Order and succumbed to the dark side of the Force, becoming the Sith Lord Darth Tyrannus. Leaving the Jedi, he assumed his title as Count of Serenno and led the Confederacy of Independent Systems during the Clone Wars. As Darth Sidious's second apprentice, Dooku played a crucial role in his master's plan to dominate the galaxy by spearheading a secessionist movement against the Republic and the Jedi, both of which he viewed as corrupt. Immersed in the dark side, Dooku worked relentlessly to advance their schemes, unaware that he was merely a disposable pawn in Sidious's grand plan. Born in 102 BBY during the late High Republic era, Dooku was taken by the Jedi Order after being abandoned by his family and trained under Yoda, the legendary Grand Master. A political idealist, he became disillusioned by the Senate's corruption and the Jedi's traditions, prompting him to leave the Order. Returning to Serenno, he reclaimed his noble title by overthrowing his corrupt brother, Ramil. Though his former peers saw his decision as misguided, they still respected him. Secretly conspiring with Darth Sidious, Dooku fully embraced the dark side after Qui-Gon Jinn's death at the hands of Darth Maul, becoming Sidious's new apprentice and taking the name Darth Tyrannus. During the early years of Chancellor Sheev Palpatine's rule, Dooku used his resources and charisma to draw numerous star systems to the Separatist cause. He also oversaw the creation of two massive armies, the Separatist Droid Army made on Geonosis and the Grand Army of the Republic, composed of clones from Kamino based on bounty hunter Jango Fett. Dooku's manipulations led to the outbreak of the Clone Wars when the Republic military invaded Geonosis in 22 BBY. As the Separatist leader, he delegated military command to subordinates like General Grievous and Asajj Ventress. Grievous mastered lightsaber combat under Dooku, while Ventress, strong with the Force, learned the dark side from him. Despite this, the Sith adhered to Darth Bane's rule of two, forcing Dooku to betray Ventress when Sidious grew suspicious of his intentions. Though he sought to replace her with Savage Oprys and later Quinlan Vos, Dooku ultimately remained loyal to his master, leading to his eventual downfall. By the third year of the war, Dooku and Grievous succeeded in capturing Chancellor Palpatine as part of Sidious's plan from Coruscant in 19 BBY. During the Battle of Coruscant, Dooku was defeated by Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker, who beheaded him at Palpatine's urging. In the aftermath, Palpatine revealed himself as Darth Sidious, betraying Dooku to replace him with the younger, more powerful Skywalker. With the Jedi Order's fall, Sidious declared himself Emperor of the Galactic Empire which Tyrannus had helped create. Skywalker succeeded the late Dooku as Sidious's final apprentice, transforming into Darth Vader, thus fulfilling Dooku's foresight of sensing fear, hate, and anger in him. Count Dooku was born to rulers of the planet Serenno, Count Gora and Countess Anya. His Force sensitivity manifested early, causing fear and hatred in his father, who despised those he considered freaks. Gora contacted the Jedi Order to take his son but abandoned the infant outside his palace without clothes or identification before the Jedi arrived. A Jedi Seeker rescued Dooku from the forest's edge before he could freeze or be eaten by spine wolves and brought him to the Jedi Temple on Coruscant. At the temple, Dooku was placed in Hawkbat clan with other younglings such as Zang Arira, Arath Tarex, and Sifo Dyas, under Jedi Master Terra Sinube's guidance. As a youngling, Dooku was highly driven, always striving to excel and follow the rules, which isolated him from his peers. His exceptional abilities caused friction with Arath Tarex, who often mocked Dooku out of jealousy. Despite this, Dooku formed a close friendship with Sifo Dyas. In 90 BBY, they joined Grandmaster Yoda and other Jedi on a visit to Serenno for a galactic festival. During the festival, Dooku followed two children, Jenza and Ramil, who were being harassed by thugs. Using his Force powers and an Electroblade, Dooku drove the criminals away. The children introduced themselves, and Jenza offered Dooku a tour of Serenno. They became friends as they explored the celebration. Jenza took Dooku to the Great Assembly, where he learned about the planet's history and felt drawn to an ancient carving of a beast called a Tirataka. Touching the carving caused a groundquake that trapped them under rubble until Yoda rescued them. Dooku then learned from Yoda that Count Gora, who was furious to see him, was his father and Genza his sister. Confused by his father's rejection, Dooku asked Yoda about his origins. Yoda explained that Gora had abandoned him due to his force sensitivity. Back at the temple, Dooku channeled his frustration into his training. An attendant brought a communications device, allowing him to keep in contact with his sister Genza for many years. 2 years later, Sifo Dyas revealed he had found the Journal of Cleus Teradine, an expelled Jedi which mentioned the Bogan collection of dark side artifacts in the Jedi archives. Dooku and Sifo Dyas broke into the Bogan collection, where Dooku felt a connection to the Tirataka artifact. Frightened, he accidentally alerted the chief librarian, Restelli Quist. The boys were treated in the infirmary and reprimanded by Masters Yoda and Eula Braylen. Lena Costana, concerned about the security of the Bogan collection, engaged in a debate with the Masters about training younglings to confront the dark side. While serving their punishment by deciphering agricultural treatises, Costana secretly gave Sifo Dyas a Sith text. Dooku, suspicious of her motives, confronted her and they dueled. Yoda intervened, calming Dooku and chiding Costana for her methods. Dooku began spending more time with Costana, who became a mentor to him due to their shared interest in studying the dark side and her pet convor Farana. He visited her frequently whenever she returned to the temple from her missions. "Perhaps the best Padawan of your generation you were." "Are you resorting to flattery, Master Yoda? Besides, I recall getting into more trouble than any other Padawan of my generation." "Yes, and a valuable perspective this gives you." Yoda and Dooku reflect on their time together as master and apprentice. In 86 BBY, Dooku completed his initiate trials and hoped to be chosen as Lena Costana's Padawan due to her dark side relic missions. During the Padawan tournament, Dooku impressively defeated Sifo Dyas in a duel while fighting with one hand behind his back and blindfolded. Despite his prowess, Costana selected Sifo Dyas as her apprentice. Dooku's disappointment was alleviated when Yoda chose him as his apprentice instead. As Dooku's training progressed, he and Yoda developed a strong bond. Yoda took him on a training voyage to Luzban in the Mid-Rim. During a mission to Kashyyyk, Dooku witnessed his master battling a giant Terran Tatek. Around 85 BBY, Sifo Dyas had a force vision of a deadly solar storm hitting Protobranch. Dooku supported Sifo Dyas and Costana's suggestion to warn the planet, but Yoda and the Council forbade it, stating that force visions were not absolute. Frustrated with the Council's decision, Dooku, Costana, and Sifo Dyas went behind their backs to inform Teveti, the senator representing Protobranch. Dooku was disturbed by Teveti's concern for the planet's resources rather than its people. They traveled to Protobranch, where Sifo Dyas's vision proved true. A solar storm devastated the planet, killing many, and the Jedi barely survived. This event shook Dooku's faith in the Republic and the Jedi Council, feeling their inaction was partly to blame for the tragedy. Around 82 BBY, a 20-year-old Dooku attended his mother Anya's funeral on Sereno. There his father Gora physically and verbally assaulted him, calling him a freak. Soon after, Dooku joined Sifo Dyas and Costana on a mission to Asusto, where they were trapped by the Presages of Hakote. Dooku was briefly captured and experienced visions of his future, using Force lightning to kill his captors. Costana and Sifo Dyas taught him a cleansing ritual to keep him centered in the Force. Between 82 BBY and 78 BBY, Dooku completed his training with Yoda, becoming a Jedi Knight and later a Jedi Master. Renowned for his exceptional lightsaber skills, he trained Rael Averross as his Padawan, who became a Jedi Knight after 10 years. Dooku set aside his first lightsaber for a new curved hilt design, producing a blue blade. He demonstrated his lightsaber skills to younglings and served as the main instructor for Thranta clan. He also aided Mother Talzin of the Night Sisters by giving her a lock of his hair. In 68 BBY, Dooku took 12-year-old Qui-Gon Jinn as his second Padawan. On the night of their pairing, Jinn confessed his fear of not becoming a Jedi. Dooku reassured him, praising his honesty and insight. To help Jinn understand the Jedi Temple better, Dooku took him on a tour, including the sparring dojos and the Jedi archives. There, Jinn was intrigued by an ancient holocron of Jedi prophecies, which Dooku explained could lead to the dark side if misused. After several months of training, the Council sent Dooku and Jin to Shuruppak for a battle, Jin's first. They encountered Dooku's former apprentice, Rael Averross. Later, a strike team, including Dooku and Jin, tracked bounty hunter Shenda Mol to Numidian Prime. When Jin was captured by Mol, Dooku saved him using Force Lightning, a revelation that surprised but did not concern Averross. On a mission to rescue the abducted son of Senator Dagonet, one of the Republic's longest-serving members, Dooku and Jin traveled to the Senator's home planet. To the stoic Jedi Master and his young Padawan's surprise, the planet's surface was little more than a wasteland, stripped of its natural resources and ravaged by over-industrialization. The two Jedi headed for a barren village in the distance. As they walked through the village, not a single resident dared step outside their homes or answer Qui-Gon's questions, prompting them to enter the local inn. Fearless and maintaining his calm Jedi demeanor, Dooku immediately demanded the abducted child of the Senator twice. One of the villagers questioned why she should tell them, to which Dooku responded by producing his lightsaber. Realizing Dooku and Qui-Gon were Jedi, Dooku stated their intention to resolve the situation, and Qui-Gon assured the villagers they were not acting on behalf of the Senator, prompting the villager to ask how much they knew of the Senator. She explained that the village's desolate surroundings were proof that the Senator, who might have had good intentions initially, had begun to neglect his people. Qui-Gon asked why they didn't elect a new Senator, to which she replied that it wasn't that simple. She then agreed to show the Jedi where the Senator's son was located. Qui-Gon and Dooku were surprised to discover that almost every visitor in the inn had been involved in the kidnapping. Escorted to a barn, the Jedi found the Senator's son restrained and surrounded by a droid and armed villagers. Dooku asked if the boy had been harmed and assured that he had not, asked what the boy knew of the villagers' living conditions. The boy did not blame them for kidnapping him as he sympathized with their circumstances. A villager then informed the group that Senator Dagonet had arrived with dozens of armed soldiers. The villagers accused the Jedi of leading them into a trap, but Dooku calmed them, stating that their investigation was unknown to the Senator. Outside, the Jedi and kidnappers watched as the Senator handed bread to the villager who had revealed his son's location. One kidnapper remarked that many in the village would have done the same. Senator Dagonet ordered Dooku and Qui-Gon to apprehend the villagers and release his son immediately. Placing himself between the Senator and his people, Dooku tried to de-escalate the situation by stating their investigation was incomplete. The prideful Senator demanded his son's release, to which Dooku responded that the young man was in no immediate danger and further investigation was needed. Unwilling to delay, the Senator ordered his men to prepare to attack, prompting the villagers to raise their weapons. The Senator gave the Jedi one more chance to step aside, but Dooku refused. Dagonet claimed the Jedi served him, but Dooku corrected him, stating the Jedi served the people of the Republic, not its leaders. Frustrated, the Senator commanded his soldiers to aim and prepare to fire. To protect the villagers, the Jedi ignited their lightsabers. A firefight erupted, and the precise shots of the soldiers overwhelmed the kidnappers, while the Jedi could only defend themselves and watch the massacre. After most of the villagers were killed, Senator Dagonet stopped his soldiers. Surrounded by Republic citizens killed by their leader, Dooku felt a righteous anger that led him to tap into the dark side of the Force. As the Senator proclaimed he would not be deterred, he was stopped mid-sentence as his throat began to constrict from Dooku's sudden forced choke. Alarmed, Qui-Gon tried to stop his master, but Dooku Force pushed him back into the barn door and continued torturing the Senator. The remaining soldiers couldn't resist, as Dooku approached the struggling Senator, who collapsed, unable to breathe. Sensing an opportunity to save the Senator, Qui-Gon rushed back into the barn and freed his son. Dooku, consumed by the dark side and his desire to eradicate corruption, would have killed the Senator. But the son rushed forward, begging the Jedi to stop. As Qui-Gon told Dooku it was over, Dooku regained his composure and let go of Senator Dagonet. In the aftermath, the Senator left the planet with his son, who promised to make things right for his people. The villagers nodded in gratitude for the Jedi's efforts as they began to rebuild their village. Dooku expressed his doubts that anything would change. prompting Qui-Gon to question if that was his master's motivation to take action. Dooku congratulated Qui-Gon on saving many lives. His Padawan stated it was just a matter of focusing on the moment, which made Dooku warmly acknowledge him as wiser than himself as they walked to their ship. Sometime between 50 BBY and 42 BBY, Dooku and Jedi Master Mace Windu were tasked with returning the body of Master Katri, who had been killed in an ambush on Raxus Secundus, to the Jedi Temple for a proper burial. Dooku was suspicious of the circumstances surrounding Katri's death, as the identity of her murderers was unknown. Since the Raxus senator Larrick had been present during the ambush, Dooku wondered how he survived when Katri, a fully trained Jedi Master, hadn't. Dooku believed they needed to investigate Katri's death further, but Windu insisted on following the rules. Upon arriving on Raxus Secundus, they met with Senator Larrick, who claimed to have been with Katri at the time of her death. Dooku questioned Larrick, noting inconsistencies in his story. Windu shared this concern and wanted to report to the Jedi Council, but Dooku wanted to follow the lead himself. They all headed to the ambush site, following Dooku's plan. Examining the scene, Dooku and Windu deduced there were multiple attackers but no blaster marks on the senator's ship. Suspecting Larrick's involvement, Dooku ignited his lightsaber and demanded the truth. Terrified, Larrick admitted the guards killed Katri, but was shot dead instantly for revealing the truth. Dooku and Windu were attacked by the guards but defeated them. When they captured the final guard, Samaj, he admitted they killed Katri because they learned Larrick was using his Senate seat to get rich at their planet's expense. Samaj explained they kept Larrick alive to make him enact their own rules at the next Senate meeting. Windu questioned why Samaj didn't inform Katri of Larrick's corruption, to which Samaj insisted the Jedi only served the Senate and maintained law and order for the rich. Dooku understood Samaj's perspective and, while not condoning his methods, believed they had a right to protect their planet. He advised Samaj to ensure his people continued to evolve and not lose heart. Having solved Katri's murder, Dooku and Windu brought her body back to the Jedi Temple, where she was honored and cremated. After the funeral, Dooku asked Windu if he had been offered Master Katri's council seat. Windu confirmed it, explaining he believed he was given the seat because Dooku did not stick to the mission and caused a senator's death. Windu promised to speak on Dooku's behalf to the council. Dooku, though resentful, thanked him nonetheless. Shortly before Qui-Gon's trials between 49 BBY and 44 BBY, Dooku and his apprentice were invited by council member Jor Aerith to join her in representing the Jedi at the annual Coruscant Dragonfire Air Rally. This event was seen as an opportunity to make a favorable impression on the Kandavant ambassador, who had extended the invitation to Aerith. While Dooku and Master Eula Braylen expressed frustration at the council's political concerns, Aerith noted that Dooku's charisma made him an effective conversationalist, a skill she lacked. Agreeing to attend, Dooku used the occasion to teach Qui-Gon about Kandavant customs. During the event, Dooku encountered his brother Ramil, who was competing in the race. Dooku questioned why Ramil, as the heir to the Serenian throne, was participating, but Ramil dismissed him. Despite performing well in the race, Ramil's airspeeder was sabotaged and crashed. Dooku and Qui-Gon discreetly inquired into the issue and discovered the investigator was covering up the incident. They followed him to find he was working for a genetic crime boss named Senevax. Ignoring a recall message from Aerith, they captured Senevax and realized she was privy to council communications, indicating a spy within the council. Dooku called the temple guard and escorted Senevax to the council chamber, where he accused her of espionage. Through the Force, he sensed Eula Braylen's guilt. Igniting his lightsaber, he confronted her. Braylen ignited hers in return, asking if he intended to kill her. Dooku stated he wanted justice and placed her under arrest. Further investigation revealed that Senevax had been blackmailing Braylen, threatening to expose her secret that Arath Tarex was her son. Dooku and Qui-Gon confronted Tarex, leading to his arrest for his criminal actions and betrayal. Braylen was removed from the council. Dooku inquired about Senevax's fate and learned she would be sent to the Citadel on Lola Sayu. Dooku was troubled by the Jedi taking the law into their own hands, and Braylen's betrayal of the Order, further shaking his faith. He was offered and accepted a seat on the council, believing change needed to come from within. Eventually, Qui-Gon became a knight and later took Obi-Wan Kenobi as his Padawan. Dooku maintained contact with Qui-Gon, who spoke highly of Kenobi. Dooku took on another pupil who fell to the dark side and had to be killed, leaving Dooku with her red-bladed lightsabers. Over time, Dooku grew disillusioned with the Republic's corruption and believed the Jedi Order had become too connected to the government. In 42 BBY, Rael Averross introduced Dooku to Senator Sheev Palpatine, secretly the Sith Lord Darth Sidious, after Dooku delivered a Senate address. Dooku then returned to Serenno with Master Kostana and Sifo Dyas at his sister Jenza's plea. He became involved in an invasion of Serenno by his brother, Count Ramil, who had hired mercenaries to turn the people against the Republic. In the ensuing battle, Dooku killed Ramil and reclaimed his title as Count, along with his family's fortune. Believing his people needed him, Dooku left the Jedi Order to lead Serenno, rejecting Republic aid and deciding Serenno's recovery should be an internal matter. He explained his decision to Yoda, who respected it and allowed Dooku to keep his lightsaber. Dooku said farewell to Sifo Dyas, promising to see him again. At 60, Dooku left the Order, becoming one of the Lost 20. Despite his wealth and power, he disappeared from public life, leading many to believe he had gone into a self-imposed exile to found an offshoot of the Jedi Order. Dooku remained welcome at the Jedi Temple due to his past and often returned for council meetings. However, he was approached by Darth Sidious, who saw him as a potential leader for a separatist movement. Sidious turned Dooku to the dark side, making him his ally. In 40 BBY, Dooku shared with Averross that he had discovered a great power, but Averross rejected him. Despite Yoda's failure to sense the growing darkness in Dooku, Dooku helped Sidious lay the groundwork for the Clone Wars, including overseeing the creation of a clone army for the Republic. Dooku claimed Jedi Master Sifo Dyas had willingly involved him in the army's creation. Troubled by the Republic's political situation and the Jedi Council's complacency, Sifo Dyas ordered the clone army from the Kaminoans as a precaution against civil war. Dooku ensured Sifo Dyas' silence by having him killed by the Pike Syndicate, who then imprisoned Valorum's aide Silman as insurance against Dooku's betrayal. Dooku took Sifo Dyas' body to Felucia, making it seem like they had been dispatched together to solve a local conflict, and the Felucians burned the body, unaware of Dooku's true intentions. In 32 BBY, Dooku secretly visited the Jedi Temple and accessed the Jedi Archive. Using Sifo Dyas' authorization, he deleted records of the planet Kamino, where the clone army ordered by Dyas was being developed. Amidst the commotion among the Jedi and the archives, Dooku inquired with Jedi archivist Jocasta Nu, who informed him that his former Padawan, Qui-Gon Jinn, had encountered a supposed Sith Lord on Tatooine. Qui-Gon and his Padawan, Obi-Wan Kenobi, had traveled to Naboo to negotiate with Trade Federation Viceroy Newt Gunray to lift the blockade on the planet. Under orders from Sidious, Gunray attempted to have the Jedi killed, but they escaped with Queen Padme Amidala. On their way to Coruscant, they stopped at Tatooine and encountered Maul, who they managed to evade. Dooku dismissed the incident as Qui-Gon's imagination, which Nu reminded him he once had. Dooku remarked that such imagination was less valued in the Jedi Temple. Leaving the archives, he found Jinn walking with Master Yaddle and asked about the Sith Lord. Dooku noted that the Council likely did not want to believe Jinn's conclusion, expressing frustration that his warnings about the coming darkness were not taken seriously. Yaddle insisted that while they did not doubt Jinn's claim, they had found no reason to cause undue alarm and advised caution until more was known. Dooku warned Jinn to be cautious when encountering a Sith, reminding him that he would no longer be there to protect him. Jinn assured Dooku that Kenobi looked out for him, and after Jinn left, Dooku and Yaddle reflected on how quickly their students grew up. After Qui-Gon's death at the hands of Maul during the Battle of Naboo, Dooku visited the Great Tree in the Jedi Temple to reflect. Yaddle informed him of Jinn's funeral on Naboo, but Dooku declined to attend, believing his presence would not be welcome. He expressed that it was time to let Jinn go, despite Yaddle's doubts. Dooku then traveled to the works on Coruscant to confront Sidious, furious that his allies' machinations had led to Jinn's death. Dooku accused Sidious of making him betray everything he had known, but Sidious claimed that Dooku's actions served a greater good. Unbeknownst to Dooku, Yaddle had followed him and confronted them, urging Dooku to surrender and help defeat Sidious. Dooku hesitated but, on Sidious's orders, dueled Yaddle. Despite her efforts, Dooku's superior dueling skills quickly overwhelmed her. Yaddle admitted the Council's mistakes and stated she had stepped down from the body. Dooku, enraged, attacked her more ferociously, knocking her into a doorway and bringing it down on her. Collapsing in anguish over his actions, Dooku was reassured by Sidious. To their shock, Yaddle lifted the door off herself in a final display of force power, but lay exhausted and defenseless. Dooku then impaled her with his lightsaber, killing her instantly. Sidious formally anointed Dooku as his new Sith apprentice, giving him the name Darth Tyrannus. As Tyrannus, Dooku recruited the bounty hunter Jango Fett on one of Bogdan's moons to serve as the template for the clone army, agreeing to pay Fett with an unaltered clone. Sifo Dyas had intended biochips in the clones as safeguards against rogue Jedi, but Sidious and Dooku retooled them to trigger Order 66, brainwashing the clones to kill their Jedi superiors. Posing as a Jedi, Tyrannus deceived the Kaminoans into believing Sifo Dyas's intentions while keeping it a secret. After hiring Fett, Dooku began gathering galactic-level businesses and planets tired of the Republic to form the Separatists. He also led the independent movement for self-determination, giving lectures at universities. In 33 BBY, Dooku discovered the Kaleesh warlord Grievous, a brilliant military leader with a fierce reputation. Dooku and Sidious saw potential in Grievous, who led his people against the Yamri, a technologically advanced insectoid species. The Republic and the Jedi sided with the Yamri, condemning the Kaleesh and leading to starvation. Grievous' hatred for the Republic and Jedi grew, prompting him to ally with the intergalactic banking clan as an enforcer. Grievous' shuttle was later sabotaged, nearly killing him. Dooku offered him life-saving surgery, falsely claiming a Jedi was responsible. Under Dooku's direction, Grievous was reconstructed with cybernetic enhancements and trained in lightsaber combat, becoming a lethal warrior. In 26 BBY, Dooku, at Sidious's behest, visited Sullust to discuss an alliance with the Sorosub Corporation and to seek out the Kaldana Syndicate. After a tour of Sullust, Dooku met newly knighted Jedi Jaxin and Representative Cap Clip. Dooku informed Sidious of this complication, and Sidious instructed him to find out why Jaxin was there. Dooku and Jaxin discovered the Syndicate was smuggling weapons and fought the gangsters. After defeating them, Dooku killed Jaxin and made a deal with the surviving gangsters before leaving Sullust. While Dooku was deeply involved in Grievous's transformation into a cyborg and training him in lightsaber combat, he also sought his own apprentice. Grievous was already allied with other Confederacy of Independent Systems members. Impressed by her conquest of the planet Ratatak, Count Dooku recruited the fallen Dathomirian Jedi Asajj Ventress to serve as his assassin and Sith apprentice. Ignoring her pleas to return to the light, Dooku also murdered his sister Jenza. Several years after resigning from the Jedi Order and the death of his former apprentice Qui-Gon Jinn, Dooku re-emerged dramatically by commandeering a Republic holonet station in the Raxus system. In a rousing speech, he lambasted the Republic's corruption and failings, setting the stage for the separatist movement. Dooku began interfering in the affairs of many planets, supporting anti-Republic coups on Ryloth, and meddling in the politics of Kashyyyk and Onderon, among others. He publicly rallied systems and corporations to form the Confederacy of Independent Systems, consistently spurning opportunities to negotiate with Palpatine. After the creation of the CIS, Dooku piloted his personal Sith infiltrator to Dathomir and personally went to Geonosis to renew the contract between Bactoid Armor Workshop and the Geonosians. One of Dooku's initial headquarters was in the Tion hegemony. Despite the sector being largely controlled by the House of Tion, Dooku's presence ensured strong support for the CIS. Leading up to the Clone Wars, Dooku met several times with Eriadu's governor, Wilhuf Tarkin, attempting to recruit him to the separatist cause. These meetings, however, were orchestrated by Palpatine to test Tarkin's loyalty, and Tarkin remained committed to the Republic. Dooku promised Trade Federation Viceroy Newt Gunray that he would assassinate Senator Amidala if Gunray signed his treaty. Gunray agreed, and Dooku dispatched Jango Fett to carry out the assassination. Although Fett's mission failed, Dooku secured the support of the Trade Federation, Banking Clan, Techno Union, Commerce Guild, and Corporate Alliance by having them sign his treaty on Geonosis, formalizing the CIS. He assured them that their combined forces would overwhelm the Jedi and the Republic. The assassination attempts on Amidala prompted Jedi Knight Obi-Wan Kenobi to investigate, leading him to Geonosis where Dooku was meeting with Commerce Guild leaders. Kenobi overheard their plans but was captured by Droidicus while transmitting his findings. Dooku visited Kenobi in his cell, feigning shock at his capture, and suggesting that Qui-Gon Jinn would have joined his movement had he known the Sith controlled the Senate. When Kenobi refused to believe him, Dooku attempted to recruit him in apparent opposition to Darth Sidious. Kenobi rejected the offer and Dooku left him to his fate. Dooku oversaw the attempted execution of Amidala, Kenobi, and Skywalker in the Petranaki arena, but Master Windu and a Jedi assault team arrived to rescue them. The Jedi were soon surrounded by battle droids and Dooku offered to spare their lives if they surrendered, but Windu refused. Dooku regretfully ordered their termination, but Yoda arrived with the clone army, sparing the survivors. As war broke out, Dooku retreated to the Geonosian Command Center to oversee the Battle of Geonosis. He assured Poggle the Lesser that his master would not allow the Republic's invasion to succeed, and eventually chose to retreat, taking the designs for the ultimate weapon with him. Dooku was pursued by Kenobi and Skywalker as he prepared to leave. He subdued Skywalker with Force lightning and fought Kenobi, wounding him. Skywalker intervened, but Dooku cut off his right arm. Yoda arrived, and after a fierce but brief lightsaber duel, Dooku brought down a pillar to distract Yoda and fled. He rendezvoused with Sidious, who was impressed and informed that the war had begun as planned. Dooku and Sidious recruited General Grievous to lead the droid army, training him in the Jedi arts using lightsabers taken from his Jedi kills. Dooku also plotted to bring the Hutt clan into the Confederacy. He made a deal with Zero the Hutt to kidnap Jabba the Hutt's son Rotta and blame it on the Jedi. Dooku sent Ventress to carry out the kidnapping, which led to a confrontation with Skywalker and his apprentice, Ahsoka Tano. Despite Ventress's defeat, Dooku manipulated the situation to make it seem like the Jedi were responsible for Rotta's death, convincing Jabba to allow the Republic to use the Hutt hyperspace lanes. During the separatist occupation of Ryloth, Dooku learned that the Republic was sending Senator Bail Organa to Toydaria to establish supply lines. He sent Ventress to convince King Katunko to join the Separatists, but Yoda's intervention led to Katunko joining the Republic instead. Dooku held a grudge against Katunko for this failure. Dooku joined General Grievous aboard the heavy cruiser Malevolence in the Abrigado system. He ordered Grievous to use the ship's ion cannon to disable a Republic fleet and sent out hunters to eliminate any survivors. When Skywalker arrived to rescue the survivors, Dooku ordered Grievous to destroy the rescue ship, but the effort failed. After the Malevolence's hyperdrive was disabled, Dooku arranged for Senator Amidala to be captured, but the ploy failed and the Malevolence was destroyed. As the conflict reached a stalemate, Viceroy Gunray was captured by the Republic, prompting Sidious to warn Dooku about the risk of Gunray being interrogated by the Jedi. Though Dooku intended to send Ventress to either free or silence Gunray, Sidious questioned her competence due to previous failures. Dooku assigned Ventress the mission, warning her that she needed to prove herself worthy of being his apprentice. He bribed Senate Commando Faro Argius to assist Ventress in freeing Gunray, which was ultimately successful. Frustrated with the ongoing stalemate after Gunray's escape, Dooku set a trap for General Grievous. He lured Jedi Master Kit Fisto, his former apprentice Nadar Veb, and their clone troopers to Grievous's fortress in the Vasek system, deactivating Grievous's Magna Guards and offering an alternative prize to Fisto during his pursuit of Gunray. After Grievous's initial confrontation with the Jedi and the death of his pet Rogwart Gore, Dooku contacted Grievous, informing him that this was a test. Grievous then cut communications to finish off the Jedi. Afterward, Grievous reported Fisto's escape and Dooku suggested room for improvement. Dooku captured Skywalker and took him aboard his command ship, but Skywalker was rescued by Kenobi, leading to a confrontation. Dooku escaped to his solar sailor as Republic forces arrived, only to be shot down by Skywalker and Kenobi, crash landing on Vancouver. Hiding in a cave, he caused a cave-in that forced Skywalker to lose his lightsaber, which Dooku took, before sealing off the cave. Encountering Wiki pirates at his solar sailor, Dooku struck a deal with pirate captain Hondo Ohnaka for passage to Florum. Planning to kill the pirates upon arrival due to distrust, Dooku was thwarted when Hondo's monkey lizard Pilf Mukmuk stole his lightsabers. Dooku warned the pirates they were dealing with a Sith Lord, but he was outnumbered and ransomed to the Republic. Kenobi and Skywalker verified the capture, with Dooku cautioning them about the pirates' treachery. Proven correct, Dooku, Kenobi and Skywalker were tied together, forcing Dooku to work with the Jedi to escape before the Republic's arrival. During their second escape attempt, Kenobi saved Dooku before they were recaptured by Hondo's men. When Republic representative Jar Jar Binks and his escort disabled the power, Dooku escaped by choking a guard, killing Turk Falso, and forcing Barb Mentir to shoot himself. He stole their shuttle and escaped, as Anakin and Obi-Wan were rescued by Jar Jar and Stone. On his way back to his frigate, Dooku recorded these events but deleted the holo-recording to prevent Sidious from knowing about his kidnapping. Dooku observed General Lok Durd's test of the defoliator on Maridun. After successful tests on grass and battle droids, Dooku insisted it be tested on living targets, which Durd assured would be the Lurman colonists. During the Republic's initial return to Ryloth, Dooku assured Tambor that Republic forces were spread thin and an attack would be suicidal. When the Republic landed and advanced on Lesu, Dooku, informed by Te-175 of Tambor's poor performance, warned him he was no match for Windu. Dooku ordered Tambor to evacuate with valuables and destroy what was left, intending the charred ruins of Ryloth to serve as a grim warning. He was shocked to find Tambor had not evacuated, ordering him out before Windu's arrival, and instructed Ta-175 to bomb the capital after their departure. When the Republic captured Tambor, Dooku ordered the bombing. Dooku secretly supported the Death Watch movement on Mandalore, assuring Governor Pre Vizsla of Concordia that a Republic occupation would incite rebellion, leading to Death Watch's rise. He had Vizsla send an assassin to eliminate Duchess Satine Kryze, but she thwarted the plan. Dooku warned Vizsla that without his forces, Death Watch would only hold Mandalore for a day, but assured him of other means to achieve their goals. Later, Dooku betrayed Death Watch, leaving Vizsla with a lightsaber scar and vowing vengeance. Dooku endorsed a separatist Senate peace initiative while ensuring Grievous's missions continued Sidious's plans. He assured Republic senators Lot Dod, Gumsam, and Nix Card of their profits from deregulated banks. He also offered assistance to Pantoran chairman Papanoida when his daughters were kidnapped and attempted to coerce Pantora into joining the separatists by sending the Trade Federation to blockade the moon. After the attack, Dooku claimed the Republic had killed the peace initiative's sponsor, Mina Bonteri, though he had sent agents to murder her. He sent bounty hunters Robonino and Chatahyoki to intimidate senators against the Military Enhancement Bill and later to eliminate Senator Amidala. Sidious contacted Dooku about Ventress's growing power, suspecting Dooku of training an apprentice to replace him. To prove his loyalty, Sidious ordered Ventress's elimination. Though Dooku tried to convince Sidious otherwise, he complied. Dooku informed Ventress her reinforcements were recalled and she would soon die. He ordered the tactical droid TJ-912 to destroy Ventress aboard its destroyer. TJ-912 carried out the order and Dooku reported Ventress's death to Sidious, proving his loyalty. Ventress, however, survived and with her Night Sister allies attacked Dooku at his palace on Sereno. Despite being poisoned, Dooku fought them off with Sith lightning. Though the attack failed, he never discovered their identities. Mother Talzin contacted Dooku, offering a male from her planet to replace Ventress. Dooku traveled to Dathomir to speak with Talzin, proposing an alliance, which she refused. Instead, she offered him a night brother from Maul's village as his new assassin. Dooku accepted and was given Savage Opress, impressed by his fierceness. He sent Opress on a mission to secure an outpost on Devaran, which Opress succeeded in. Dooku trained Savage in lightsaber combat and the dark side, harshly torturing him with Sith lightning. He then sent Opress to Toydaria to capture King Katunko alive. When Opress killed Katunko, Dooku punished him. Ventress revealed herself as Opress's true master, and they fought Dooku but were unable to defeat him. Opress then turned on both, but they managed to escape. Ventress confronted Dooku, who defeated her but was blinded, allowing her to escape. Dooku ordered his droids to kill Opress, but they failed. Dooku contacted Citadel Warden Commander Osi Sobek about Jedi Council member. Even peels information on the Nexus route, reprimanding Sobek, but giving him another chance. During the Battle of Mon Cala, Dooku supported the Quarren against the Mon Calamari, promising Commander Riff Tamsin control of the planet. Despite Dooku's efforts, the Quarren switched sides, leading to the Separatists' defeat. Despite the stalemates and setbacks, Dooku continued to maneuver behind the scenes, orchestrating events to further the goals of the Sith and the Confederacy. Both the Trade Federation and the Separatist armies had long desired control of Naboo ever since their defeat at the Battle of Naboo. This time, Count Dooku led the plan, with General Grievous at his side. Dooku coveted Naboo because of its connection to Palpatine as the Republic's leader. Dooku formed an alliance with Gungan priest Rish Lu to incite a war between the Naboo and the Gungans, promising Rish Lu significant influence in his new order. However, Rish Lu's plot was uncovered by Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker, Senator Amidala, and Representative Binks, who freed Boss Lione from mind control. Dooku informed his master of Grievous' capture by the Gungans and agreed to capture Skywalker to trade him for Grievous. He had Rish Lu lure Skywalker to his lab, then killed Rish Lu for his foolishness. Dooku and his Magna Guards fought Skywalker, eventually subduing him. He contacted Amidala, offering to exchange Skywalker for Grievous. Amidala initially refused, but agreed when Dooku's Magna Guards began torturing Skywalker. Dooku later accompanied Zygerian slaver commander Darts Dinar and his forces to occupy the Togruta colony of Kiros. Dooku convinced Governor Gupat Roshti to be taken to a safe haven. Dooku and Zygerian Prime Minister Atai Molek contacted him as he negotiated with General Kenobi. Dooku ordered Dinar to bring Kenobi to him on his knees. Dooku and half of Sintel's kingdom demanded Zygerian Queen Mirage Sintel kill Anakin Skywalker. When she refused, Dooku was asked to come to Zygeria by Prime Minister Molek. Sidious sent Dooku to ensure the Queen carried out Skywalker's execution. Dooku spoke with the Queen and Prime Minister about the situation. He was intrigued by her plan to enslave the Jedi, but his plan was to eradicate them. He warned her that her power over Skywalker was an illusion since he was once a Jedi. When the Queen refused to allow Dooku to execute Skywalker, Molek deemed her unworthy of being Queen, leading Dooku to force-choke Sintel as Skywalker arrived. Dooku fought Skywalker and ordered the Royal Guard to kill him for the Queen's murder before escaping. He then contacted Keeper Agras and ordered him to execute Kenobi and Captain Rex. Dooku appeared through a hologram to Lux Bonteri, denying killing Mina Bonteri and ordering him killed for treason. He hired bounty hunter Moralo Eval to kidnap Palpatine. After Eval's escape with the help of fellow bounty hunters Cad Bane and Rako Hardeen, Kenobi in disguise, Dooku brought other bounty hunters for the mission. He tested them inside the box and was impressed with Hardeen's performance, especially how he killed Kenobi. Dooku then had Eval fight Hardeen until he lost and appointed Bane as the leader to kidnap Palpatine. On Naboo, Dooku listened to Bane's plans and implanted a listening device in Hardeen's rifle case, revealing he knew Hardeen was Kenobi all along. The bounty hunter's mission was a diversion, while Dooku carried out the kidnapping. However, Kenobi and Skywalker foiled his plot before he escaped. Remembering their treachery with Savage Opress, Dooku, at Sidious's behest, dispatched General Grievous to eliminate Mother Talzin Ventress and the Night Sisters on Dathomir. Talzin tortured Dooku through her magic, demanding he call off Grievous. Dooku contacted Grievous, ordering him to find Talzin before she killed him. Grievous saved Dooku by apparently killing Talzin in a secret chamber. After the Night Sister massacre, Dooku discussed Savage Opress with Grievous, fearing that with Talzin gone, Savage would be a threat. Dooku also sensed something else approaching, unaware that Darth Maul would soon return with Opress. Dooku supported Sanjay Rash in usurping the throne of Onderon from Ramses Dendam. Following reports of rebels, Dooku dispatched Super Tactical Droid General Kalani to command the Separatist forces. After the rebels' victory over the droid gunships, Dooku ordered Kalani to withdraw the occupation force to Agamar, despite Rash's disapproval, leading to his death. Dooku, holding a grudge against Hondo Ohnaka for capturing him previously, sent Grievous to Florum to seize and dismantle Ohnaka's possessions. Grievous took Ohnaka to a prison cell, leaving much of his base in ruins. According to a story told years later, Dooku traveled to the planet Bray and met Dark Lord Ravna at the Citadel of Light, forming an agreement to use Ravna's ability to infect beings to transform clones and end the Clone War swiftly. When Jedi Masters Kenobi and Gallia arrived with the 212th Attack Battalion, Dooku introduced them to Ravna and subdued Gallia with Force lightning. However, Ravna betrayed Dooku, seeking to infect all beings. As Ravna's followers attempted to infect Kenobi and Gallia, Dooku, angered by Kenobi's insults, struck Ravna with Force lightning. Amid the chaos, Dooku urged the Jedi to destroy Ravna and his followers. The Jedi used the Force to collapse the Citadel. Burying Ravna while Dooku escaped, Admiral Trench later contacted Dooku. Through Trench's line held on Ringo Vinda, he informed Dooku that one of the clones had murdered his Jedi general in a trance-like state. Tyrannus informed his master that Order 66 might be exposed. Consequently, Sidious ordered Tyrannus to kidnap the clone and examine him. Dooku then ordered Trench to capture the clone. After Trench succeeded, Dooku praised him and commanded that the clone be sent to him. Following Trench's failed kidnapping, Dooku, going by Darth Tyrannus, was contacted by Kaminoan Prime Minister Lama Su and Chief Medical Scientist Nala Se regarding the trooper. Tyrannus asked for the inhibitor chip, reiterated his lie about its purpose, and stated that Sifo Dyas was the only one who knew about the chip before his death. However, the inhibitor chip was stolen by the renegade trooper CT-5555, aka Fives. Tyrannus made it clear that the Jedi must not discover this. After the renegade trooper's death, Tyrannus was given both chips by his master and was ordered to destroy them. Later, Sidious instructed Dooku to recruit Senator Rush Clovis and appoint him as the new head of the banking clan. Dooku contacted Clovis via the medical droid treating him. Dooku offered to pay the Confederacy's interest on their loans and provide details of the Moons' secret accounts, in exchange for Clovis becoming the head of the banking clan. After Clovis assumed his position on Scipio, Dooku congratulated him on his appointment. Dooku then demanded his investment be repaid, or he would reveal the truth behind Clovis's appointment, threatening that the Confederacy would not repay their loans. Consequently, Clovis was forced to raise the Republic's interest rates to keep the bank afloat. Dooku then arrived at Scipio with the Confederate fleet and ordered his super-tactical droid, Commander Kraken, to commence the invasion. Dooku went to Clovis's office and informed Amidala of the deal he made with Clovis, ordering her arrest. Separatist Congress leader Bek Lawis objected, and Dooku forced Amidala to shoot Lawis. Tyrannus was then informed by Sidious that the Republic fleet would soon arrive. Republic ships led by Anakin Skywalker attacked Kraken's fleet. Arriving aboard Kraken's flagship, Dooku ordered Kraken to withdraw their forces from Scipio despite Kraken's protests about droid forces still on the planet. Kraken obeyed, retreating with the Confederate fleet and abandoning the droid forces. Around 19 BBY, Dooku sent the Serenian Duke Solha to the outer rim planet Mokivj after learning of Cortosis, a metal that powered down lightsabers and deflected blaster bolts. Solha took over a fortress on Mokivj, transforming it into a droid factory where Cortosis-equipped B-2 super battle droids and Cortosis-covered clone trooper armor were manufactured. However, Senator Amidala, Senior Captain Mith Rao Nurodo, core name Thrawn, and Skywalker discovered the factory and attacked it. Amidala confronted Solha, referencing Serenian custom about granting a prisoner one last request. The attackers ultimately destroyed the factory. After meeting with Yoda to discuss Sifo Dyas, Darth Sidious alerted his apprentice about the Jedi's renewed investigation into Sifo Dyas and his death. Sidious sent Tyrannus to Obadiah to ensure the Jedi did not uncover the truth about the clone army. Upon arrival, Tyrannus killed Finis Valorum's aide, Silman, before Skywalker and Kenobi could solve the mystery. The Pikes cornered Tyrannus during his fight with Skywalker and Kenobi, unintentionally revealing to the Jedi that Dooku and Tyrannus were the same person. The Jedi and Pikes formed an alliance to kill Tyrannus, resulting in Lom Pike's death. Dooku escaped, preventing the Jedi from learning the clone army's secret. However, the revelation that Tyrannus had hired Jango Fett disturbed the Jedi, as it indicated their enemy had created the army. Dooku was then summoned by Sidious to Coruscant. Arriving in the works, he was greeted by Sidious and led to the tower's ceremonial chamber. Both sensed Yoda on Moraban for some unknown reason. Tyrannus allowed Sidious to use his blood to create an illusion for Yoda. In the ritual, Dooku and Sidious faced Yoda, Anakin Skywalker, Captain Rex, and clone troopers tasked with eliminating the Sith. Dooku attacked the clones with Force lightning and dueled Skywalker, who eventually killed him. After the ritual, they failed to break Yoda and realized they needed more time to defeat him and the Jedi. Towards the end of the Clone Wars, Count Dooku and General Grievous took an interest in a massive Kyber crystal on Utapau. They hired Sugi mercenaries led by Endente and Amani outcasts to excavate and guard the crystal. Governor Torul Blom, who had secret contacts with Endente, aided them. When Jedi Master Tuan discovered their operation, the Separatists sent IG-100 Magna Guards to assassinate her, attracting the attention of Master Kenobi and Jedi Knight Skywalker, who investigated. Kenobi and Skywalker, looking into Tuan's death and the presence of Magna Guards, were captured by Sugi mercenaries and brought to Endente. Endente informed Dooku about the Jedi and demanded more compensation. Dooku ordered him to kill the Jedi and promised to send Grievous. The Jedi overpowered their captors and stole the crystal. Endente and his Sugi comrades prepared a counter-assault, but Dooku informed them that Grievous was coming to meet them at Pao City. Despite their efforts, the Jedi reached Pao City's spaceport. Grievous executed Endente after learning of his failure. He recovered the crystal with Governor Blom's help and loaded it onto his shuttle. The Jedi followed, but Grievous captured Kenobi. Reporting to Dooku, Grievous was ordered to execute Kenobi and deliver the crystal to Sereno. Despite Grievous's efforts, the Jedi destroyed the crystal and Grievous's fleet, with Grievous escaping to report the failure. During the Clone Wars' final days, Count Dooku commanded an assault on Marani, leading to the genocide of the Maran species. He ordered all Maran to be killed on sight. The Jedi Council witnessed the assault and, at Master Obi-Wan's suggestion, partnered Quinlan Vos with Asajj Ventress. Vos revealed his identity to Ventress, who agreed to train him in the dark side to seek revenge against Dooku. After Vos completed his training, Ventress received word from Separatist contact Sumdin about Dooku's visit to Raxus Secundus to receive the Raxian Humanitarian Award. During the banquet, Ventress challenged Dooku to a duel, secretly contacting Grievous for reinforcements. Vos anticipated this and locked Grievous in a room. Ventress and Vos confronted Dooku, but he overpowered them using the dark side. Despite Vos's efforts, Dooku captured him, and Ventress escaped after a scuffle with Grievous. Dooku tortured Vos on Sereno, showing him a hologram of Ventress killing his former master Thome. When Vos refused to believe it, Dooku presented Thome's lightsaber, convincing Vos of the truth. Ventress and Boba Fett's bounty hunter syndicate attempted to rescue Vos, but he had turned to the dark side and attacked Ventress. Vos became Dooku's new Sith apprentice, planning to force Dooku to lead him to Sidious and then kill both Sith Lords. Dooku assisted Sidious in interrogating Maul about his Shadow Collective at the Spire on Stygian Prime. Maul escaped to Zanbar, and Dooku dispatched Grievous and Tezuka to attack Maul's forces. Dooku went to Ord Mantell to capture Maul, but was surrounded by Maul's forces. Maul offered Dooku a deal to abandon Sidious and join him. Dooku refused, knowing Sidious's power. Maul proposed they work together with Talzin to defeat Sidious. Dooku warned Talzin of betraying Sidious, revealing that Sidious intended to replace him. Talzin revealed that Maul was her son. When Republic forces boarded their ship, Dooku helped Maul fight Jedi Generals Windu, Sakura, Kenobi, and Tipli. Dooku killed Tipli and escaped with Maul and Commanders Saxon and Kast aboard a gauntlet fighter. Dooku was taken to Dathomir, where Talzin tried to drain his life force to regain her form. Sidious and Grievous arrived, and Talzin released Dooku's body, appearing in physical form. Dooku and Sidious overpowered Talzin and Maul. Maul escaped, and Talzin was killed by Grievous. Despite Maul's escape, Sidious assured Dooku that their future was certain. After Talzin's death, Dooku and his new right-hand man, Quinlan Vos, initiated a renewed military campaign against the Republic. Vos quickly earned the nickname Admiral Enigma among Republic media. Upon receiving intelligence from Admiral Wolf Yularen that Dooku was planning an attack on Taris, the Jedi Council devised a mission to rescue Quinlan Vos. With Ventress's assistance, Kenobi and his former apprentice Anakin Skywalker infiltrated Dooku's Providence-class dreadnought, aiming to confront Admiral Enigma. Instead, they encountered Dooku. While Skywalker dueled Dooku, Ventress and Kenobi rescued Vos from his cell. However, Vos and Dooku had orchestrated the rescue, making Vos appear emaciated. Although Ventress sensed Vos had turned to the dark side, his Jedi colleagues warmly welcomed him back. Vos' rescue provided Count Dooku with a high-level spy within the Jedi Order. Using his position, Vos leaked intelligence on 2 Republic operations to Dooku, enabling the Separatists to sabotage an asteroid supplies warehouse and evacuate a listening post on Vanker before a Republic attack. After the Jedi Council realized Vos had turned to the dark side, they sent him on a mission to kill Dooku. With Ventress's help, Vos and the Jedi learned Dooku's dreadnought was last sighted above Christophsis. Vos infiltrated Dooku's dreadnought and dueled the Sith Lord. Despite besting Dooku, Vos refused to kill him and instead demanded that Dooku lead him to Darth Sidious. Unknown to Dooku and Vos, Kenobi and Skywalker had followed them. The 2 Jedi promptly arrested Dooku and his apprentice, transporting them to the Venator-class Star Destroyer Vigilance as prisoners. While being marched to the brig, Vos freed Dooku, who then freed Vos. After killing Jedi Knights Akar Deshu and Cav Bayons and 24 clone troopers, the 2 Darksiders escaped the Vigilance aboard Ventress's ship, Banshee. Ventress tried to return them to Dooku's dreadnought, but they were shot down by the Vigilance and crash-landed on Christophsis. Dooku and his companions survived the crash, but the Count sustained a serious injury. Navigating through Christophsis's crystal-covered landscape, they reached a local Separatist base built into a giant crystal tower. There, Dooku was informed that Darth Sidious wanted to speak with him. During a brief hologram conversation, Dooku requested his master's help to get off-world. Shortly after, Kenobi and Skywalker launched an assault on the Separatist base. Dooku and his opponents made their way into an outlying crystal sanctum. On the way, Dooku was struck by a blaster bolt and knocked unconscious. While Ventress wanted to let him die, Vos insisted on keeping him alive. While Vos assisted battle droids in defending the base, Ventress moved Dooku into the crystal sanctum. Upon awakening, Dooku taunted Ventress, calling her a grunt and claiming Vos had much potential as a Sith Lord. Ventress retorted that Vos had bigger plans for Dooku. When Vos entered the sanctum, Ventress confronted him about his decision to join Dooku and the dark side. As Ventress and Vos argued, Dooku seized the moment to attack his former pupils with Force Lightning, intending to kill Vos but striking Ventress instead. She pushed Vos out of the way, taking the full force of the attack. Though Quinlan managed to stop Dooku, Ventress was mortally wounded. Dooku then tried to provoke Vos into killing him, but Vos realized that murder would lead him further down the dark path. Vos reaffirmed his Jedi identity and comforted his dying lover. Taking advantage of the situation, Dooku rendezvoused with Sidious's starship and escaped off-world with Grievous's help. Despite failing to kill Dooku, Vos was pardoned by the Jedi Council after rejecting the dark side and continued serving in the Jedi war effort. At one point, Count Dooku dueled Yoda on Vyun, managing to wound his former master before making a tactical retreat. Another time, Dooku fought Skywalker on Tithe, but Anakin failed to defeat him. Later, Dooku played a key role in Sidious's plan for Palpatine to be captured during the Battle of Coruscant. Unbeknownst to Dooku, Sidious intended for Anakin to kill him and become Sidious's new apprentice, as Dooku no longer served a purpose. Dooku informed Grievous of the impending news, suggesting the CIS still had a chance for victory. Grievous' fleet made a direct jump from the Outer Rim to Coruscant, thanks to Sidious, who had provided coordinates and a plan to kidnap the Supreme Chancellor. Count Dooku held Chancellor Palpatine captive aboard Grievous' flagship, the Invisible Hand, after Grievous successfully abducted him and took him to the communications tower. After the mission, Dooku ordered Grievous to remain in orbit and engage the Republic fleet. He announced to the galaxy that the Republic leader was his hostage. When Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi attempted to rescue Palpatine, Dooku confronted them with 2 super battle droids, demanding their surrender. A fierce lightsaber duel ensued. During the duel, Dooku incapacitated Kenobi by pinning him to the ground with a metal balcony. He then taunted Skywalker about his fear, hate, and anger, saying the young Jedi Knight refused to use them. However, Skywalker, enraged, overpowered Dooku, severing both the Count's hands and crossing Dooku's lightsaber with his own at the Count's throat. Palpatine praised Anakin and then betrayed Dooku by ordering Anakin to kill him. Shocked, Dooku looked at Sidious, only to see a sinister smile. Realizing he had been deceived, he remained silent. Initially hesitant to kill Dooku, Anakin ultimately decapitated the leader of the Confederacy upon Palpatine's insistence. Years earlier, when Count Dooku led the Republic to Grievous' home on Vasek, Grievous vowed never to forgive him. After Dooku died at Skywalker's hands, Grievous, trained by Dooku in lightsaber combat, did not mourn his death. Grievous succeeded Dooku as head of state, gaining complete control over the Separatist forces, which he found valuable while still serving Dooku's master, Darth Sidious. After escaping the Invisible Hand to Utapau to meet the Separatist Council, Grievous reported Dooku's death to Sidious. Sidious dismissed Dooku's death as necessary, promising Grievous a new apprentice soon. Not long after, Skywalker replaced Dooku as Sidious's apprentice, becoming Darth Vader. Sidious then issued Order 66, activating the biochips Tyrannus had implanted in the clones' brains, turning them against the Jedi and leading to the Order's near destruction and the end of the Separatists. During the siege of Mandalore, Dooku's Sith predecessor Maul confessed to his followers that he had initially viewed Dooku as nothing more than an old fool. However, as Sidious's grand plan unfolded, Maul mused that he and Dooku were alike, pawns of their master, always one step behind. Following the Clone Wars, the Galactic Empire bombarded Dooku's homeworld of Serenno and seized the contents of a war chest containing valuables and artifacts, some of which Dooku had stolen from his people. The renegade commando squadron Clone Force 99 attempted to secure the cache but were thwarted by the Empire. Despite his crimes, Dooku's ideals continued to inspire Separatist holdouts, including a group led by Governor Tawny Ames on D6. Recognizing the Empire as a worse version of the corrupt Republic Dooku had denounced, Ames refused to submit and fought for her planet's independence, ultimately dying at the hands of clone stormtroopers led by Clone Commander Cody. The newly created Security Bureau conducted loyalty purges, during which much Separatist propaganda featuring Dooku was destroyed. However, rare specimens of Ansibella Delu's work-in-progress poster survived. Speculation circulated after the war that Dooku had never left the Jedi Order, fueling the idea that the Jedi had been traitors to the Republic since before the war's start. Some, like Governor Tarkin, remained skeptical. Dooku was mentioned in the Clone Wars display at the Emperor's Museum on Coruscant. In 3 BBY, Princess Leia Organa of Alderaan saw the display while visiting the museum with the apprentice legislature. The docent claimed that although Dooku acted out of craven ambition with no regard for lives lost, he was correct about the Republic's corruption. In later years, Sidious likened Tyrannus to a proton torpedo. He served his purpose and then was gone, assuring Vader that he had a superior candidate in mind. While having a Force vision about Luke Skywalker, Sidious appreciated that he was a simple boy, unlike the old wizard Tyrannus. After Vader faced Lady Qi'ra of Crimson Dawn, trained in Sith combat by one of Sidious's apprentices, Sidious knew Tyrannus was not behind her training, as Qi'ra lacked a royal background. He quickly realized Maul had been responsible for her training. In the years after the fall of the Galactic Empire, Jedi Master Luke Skywalker traveled the galaxy to rediscover the history of the Jedi Order that the Empire had suppressed. During his search, Skywalker learned about Dooku. While in self-imposed exile on Ahch-To, Skywalker wrote a book titled The Secrets of the Jedi, chronicling the knowledge he had acquired during his travels. In this book, he included an illustration of Dooku, along with details about the Sith Lord. Skywalker described Dooku's reasons for leaving the Jedi Order and his crucial role in Sidious's conspiracy. He also noted Dooku's death at the hands of his father, which he described as an execution in cold blood. In 9 ABY, Commissioner Helgait of Plazir 15, a former Separatist supporter, used a tempered batch of Nepenthe lubricant to reset all reprogrammed battle droids on Plazir 15 into their attack mode to kill the planet's population. When confronted by Din Djarin and Bo-Katan Kryze, Helgite cited Dooku as a visionary who was cut short in his prime by the Jedi. 50 years after Dooku's death, a treasure hunt known as the Hunt for Dooku's Treasure took place on Ponema Terminal. Participants hoped to find Kyber crystals, but instead discovered a clone trooper who had been held captive for 50 years. The trooper Kix had learned the truth of Order 66 after being confronted about it by his fellow clone trooper friend Fives. Kix was saved by the pirate crew of Sidon Ithano and joined them. Dooku was an aging human male with light skin, brown eyes, white hair, and a height of 1.96 meters. He was a connoisseur of wine and favored technique over brute strength in lightsaber combat. Once a respected Jedi during the Separatist crisis, he was viewed as a political idealist by his former peers. In the Jedi Order, Dooku chafed at the Jedi's disdain for technology. He kept in secret contact with his sister Jenza and grew close to her. His independent spirit contributed to his departure from the Jedi Order. By the time he became a Sith, Dooku believed the Jedi had squandered their powers, while he had not wasted his own. Dooku became increasingly disillusioned with the Galactic Senate's corruption and the Jedi Order's arrogance and complacency, eventually desiring the downfall of both institutions he had once served. After Sidious exploited Dooku's anger at the Republic to turn him to the dark side, Dooku, now Darth Tyrannus, became a menacing, intelligent, powerful, manipulative, arrogant, and a moral yet charismatic statesman with a refined and educated character befitting an aristocrat of the late Republic era. In public, he maintained the image of a humanitarian leader who genuinely wanted the best for the Confederacy, but secretly sought greater power as a Sith, using methods including torture, assassination, and even genocide to advance his plans. Believing the Jedi were dishonored by serving the Republic, Dooku felt they could not be trusted. Despite his efforts to bring numerous systems to the Confederacy, his true motives were hidden. He truly wanted to rule a new Sith empire alongside Darth Sidious, whom he believed would restore order to the galaxy. Despite her pleas for him to return to the light, Dooku was so committed to the dark side that he even had his own sister Jenza killed. Still, early in the war, Yoda believed he could return Dooku to the light side if given the chance. Dooku was skilled at recruiting allies, using both his wealth and natural charm and intense gravitas. Nevertheless, he was willing to betray his own followers and allies such as Asajj Ventress and Pre Vizsla, though he showed some regret over abandoning Ventress, angering his master, Darth Sidious. He even orchestrated the death of his former friend, Sifo Dyas. Dooku was very vindictive, ordering devastating attacks against Mother Talzin and Hondo Ohnaka for crossing him. He was also fearless, willing to sacrifice himself in a final attempt to fully convert his last apprentice, Quinlan Vos, to the dark side by tempting Vos to strike him down after mortally wounding Vos's lover, Ventress. Dooku initially felt remorse for betraying the Jedi and confronted Sidious about being made to betray his own people. However, the death of his former Padawan Qui-Gon and what he had already done made him feel it was too late to turn back, leading him to fully commit to the dark side and become Sidious's second apprentice. Dooku was willing to betray Sidious for power. Towards the end of the Clone Wars, he conspired with Quinlan Vos and Maul to overthrow Sidious. He had similar plans with Ventress and Savage Opress. Despite his hatred towards the Jedi, he still expressed fondness towards Qui-Gon. The death of Qui-Gon was a factor in Dooku becoming Sidious's next apprentice. During a conversation with his Padawan's pupil, Obi-Wan Kenobi, on Geonosis, 10 years after Qui-Gon's death, Dooku expressed some sadness over his former student's demise. He also attempted to recruit Kenobi to his cause, revealing that the Republic was controlled by a Sith named Darth Sidious, although Kenobi refused to believe him. Dooku was polite to Kenobi during their interrogation, not acting hostile. When Kenobi refused to join him, Dooku had no problem attempting to kill him. Dooku intended his claim about the Sith controlling the Republic to be too outrageous for Kenobi to believe, even though it was true. During the ensuing Clone Wars, Dooku often told Jedi he encountered that he was hunting the Sith Lord he had mentioned to Kenobi, yet the Jedi saw that Dooku used Sith powers. The Jedi Order knew of his true nature as a Sith Lord during the war. While obedient to Sidious, Dooku desired to overthrow him and become the Sith Master himself. However, he was unaware that Sidious saw him as a mere pawn, to be used until he could be replaced by Anakin. This obliviousness to Sidious's true intentions led to Dooku's undoing. When Sidious instructed Anakin to kill a disarmed and beaten Dooku, Dooku was in disbelief. At that moment, Dooku realized he had been used and was now being betrayed by his own master, a hallmark of the Sith. A man of formidable power, exemplified by his Sith name Tyrannus, Dooku was a highly skilled lightsaber duelist, even in his old age. During his time as a Jedi, he was one of the Order's finest swordsmen. It was said that Yoda was his only superior and Mace Windu his only equal. On Geonosis, Dooku easily defeated both Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker one after the other, and then fought Yoda himself. Although unable to defeat Yoda, he elected to retreat. He often proved to be equal and even superior to Skywalker and Kenobi, as their skills grew during the Clone Wars, dueling Skywalker on several occasions until Skywalker finally overpowered him. Among the galaxy's most skilled swordsmen, Dooku practiced the second form of lightsaber combat, Makashi, designed specifically for lightsaber-to-lightsaber duels. In addition to his formidable lightsaber skills, Dooku was very knowledgeable and skilled in the Force. He demonstrated great prowess in telekinesis, using it for both fine tasks such as disarming opponents and in combat, as when he telekinetically manipulated people's motor skills. Dooku was also highly skilled in using Force lightning, employing it for torture and execution, often in conjunction with telekinesis to send his opponents flying or levitate them while striking them with lightning.